Good morning. Good morning. Super excited for this workshop with you guys today. I've got some good stuff for you, so I hope that it's going to be helpful and useful. But I want to give you kind of the agenda, right? So I feel like sometimes when we get on calls, it's like nice to know, like, okay, what are we doing, and what you want to stick around for. So we're going to do a little bit of celebration first and foremost, and then we're going to actually get into talking about your personal brand. And growing your personal brand and like what that looks like, some ideas around that. I have a few examples I want to show you and have some dialogue around what that looks like. I am going to give you guys like an assignment and or like a piece of something to be doing this week. And then I want to open it up for coaching questions. So if you're like, hey, I have this certain thing that I'm, struggling with, or I'm currently in a conversation with somebody like this, or content, whatever, want to open that up so that we can help you work through that. Cool. Okay. So first and foremost, let's celebrate. We know that celebration is huge. We got to get our gratitude up. We got to recognize the things that we have, right? Because the more that we do that, the more that comes. So if you would like to physically say what you're celebrating, please unmute. More than happy to have you do that. If you're like, hey, I'll just type it in the comments. Amazing. I would love to challenge everyone to have something that they're celebrating, right? This doesn't have to be a tangible, like, I signed up a VIP. If it is, amazing. But this is any and everything. So let's celebrate. So whoever would like to go first, you can either unmute or you can put it in the chat. Entirely up to you. New perspective. We love that, Sabrina. We're celebrating that with you.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to celebrate my girl Sabrina over in the States. here in Australia, she is not on tonight because her little one is sick, but she has got me in three ways right now.
I love that. Yay. So happy for her. Congratulations. Christy, she's following in your footsteps. You're so great at connecting with people. So I love that. Duplication. The Aussie team is bound to blow up. Like it's happening. It's happening. Who else has a celebration?
I want to celebrate my girl Janessa. She hit MMP last month and she was so close to AMB. So there's no doubt that I know she'll hit AMB this month, and she's just absolutely crushing it as a stylist and helping out her clients. And she has so much knowledge. I love it. And then I also want to celebrate myself. Despite having a newborn last month, I had my greatest GV that I've had in a while. And just looking forward to like getting back into like the routine and the rhythm this month as the newborn fog slowly but surely lifts. So pumped about that.
Good. So good. So proud of you, dude. Seriously, it was epic to see. And you guys, I just want to like invite you all into this piece of conversation. I was talking to Nikki about this and I said, look how simple that was. Like, look how like flowy that got to be. Like, talk about being in the most feminine time of your life. You're like, like giving birth and like you're nurturing and all these things. And because Janessa was able to just like take the systems that we have, right? And then obviously we were helping her and we were in conversation and supporting her, but she's somebody that was like, yeah, I want to do this, right? And so it got to be super flowy and it got to be fun. And so it's just like really cool to celebrate. So I love that you say that, Nick, because I think the more that we can like lean into that, it's like the more it's going to happen, cutting in and out. Okay, hopefully, are we good on this end? Hopefully. Okay. Amazing. Who else has a celebration? I will celebrate something. I am celebrating, well, I'll celebrate two things. One, over Memorial Weekend last weekend, I was with family. I was super unplugged, out in nature, like doing things unplugged to the extent that I wanted to, right? I could have been even more, but I was on my phone and documenting things, and I kept telling myself, the more fun I have, the more impact I make. The more fun I have, the more money I make, right? And then sure enough, when I would come back and check my phone, I had leads wanting the sale. And I'm like, wow, it's been, kind of a minute since I've had people just come to me like that. And so it just reaffirmed, right? Like our belief and what we are saying to ourselves really, really does come back. And so I'm celebrating that. And then I'm also celebrating that yesterday I filmed like my whole day and we're gonna like get into this. It's actually part of what I'm gonna teach you guys, but I've had so much resistance to like doing that because I feel like I don't do anything that's like groundbreaking, like that people would want to know or whatever. And I filmed it and I mashed it together and I'm like, well, that was actually kind of fun. So I'm just celebrating some creativity. Does anyone else have anything they would like to celebrate? Before
I'll
we
go.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I want to celebrate all of you guys who have been doing these workshops. Sorry, every
I know we're
Saturday.
both like a fog.
I'm like not used to talking this early. I'm proud of you guys for who have been doing these every Saturday, like so dedicated, honoring you guys. And now I want to celebrate my girls, Karina, Sabrina, and Jen, who are all on this call plugging in for their business. So I'm proud of you guys for being here. Personally, I'm celebrating that I woke up this morning to someone wanting to be a market partner and someone wanting to be a VIP. So amazing. I like literally checked out from my phone. I was like telling Caitlin yesterday, I'm like, I'm so tired. Like I can't get it together today. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put my phone down. Had a great day with Jay, just checked out, went to bed super early, slept like 12 hours, had my phone off, turned my phone back on. And I was like, check that out. This is amazing. So I'm celebrating that personally. And I'm really excited for this. So thank you, Caitlin, for holding the space for us.
Yes, absolutely. Celebrating that with you. That's so exciting. Nothing feels better than being like, wait, I'm just like living my life and like helping myself and like supporting myself. And then like people are like, hi, I need what you have. It's honestly the best feeling. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. If you want to type your celebration in the chat, go for it. But I do want to be timely for you guys. So let's talk about personal branding. Our social media, obviously, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of our social media. And something that I have kind of seen change over the years, Mel and I have been doing this for almost 5 years, is the way that social media works, right? And the obviously different apps that we have, the different ways that things correlate with people, the types of content that people are putting out. And I can tell you from experience, I've been kind of playing with what's connecting with people and maybe what's not, and really observing what I'm wanting to connect with, right? Like if I was the consumer, what are things that I'm like, I really like that. Like I would buy from that person right now, right? So we're gonna talk about that. The thing that I want to say too is that your personal brand, I think if we can lean into this more, everyone is going to feel inspired in their own way because we're all different, right? Like your personal brand is you. And I think that's so inspiring because you get to tell your story, you get to tell your experiences, you get to tell your value, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else. And I think the more that we can empower you to do exactly that, the more that you're going to step into that power and the more people are going to be like, what's she doing? I want to be a part of that because it's her. Yes, go ahead, Mel.
So I just want to say, yeah, I've been in this business for 5 years. And when I started my business on social media, the climate was way different than it is now. And that's just something that we need to acknowledge and assess. And like Caitlin saying, like what's working, what's not, because the climate has changed so much. And so if you know it or not, we are in the attention economy, right? Our job is to get people's attention. Lately, that's been harder than ever. People's focus is crap. Like our attention span is like 2 seconds now. So it's harder to capture attention. And the other thing I'll say about the online space is that people are more skeptical now than they were when I first started. It is harder to get people to trust you than it was when I first started. It was really, all you had to do was put your face on camera and people were like, oh, she's a real chick. I want to buy what she's selling. Now I feel like there's like people's got walls around their heart, around their wallet, around their energy. And so we kind of have to be aware of that first, break down those barriers, break down those walls, get people to feel connected to us. And I don't want to say that it's like more effort on our part, because it's not more effort. It's just a pivot of like what the content we're producing and what we're sharing. So Caitlin's going to give you guys some like really great tangibles, but just know like we're all in the same place, trying to get people's attention, trying to get people to trust us. And so we're just going to make some tweaks. Like Caitlin's going to teach you guys today. And I think it's going to be really, really helpful.
Yes, so good. And I say this too, because some of you may be like showing up on social media on your stories, which is amazing. And I want to congratulate you for even just getting your face on stories or writing some sort of copy. When I say copy, by the way, that is like text, right? Like a story in some format. But it absolutely has changed. Just like Mel is saying, like back in 2018, if you were on your story talking, you were the minority. Like truly, like people are like, whoa, someone's talking here, right? And so we were able to capture attention quickly, where now every time you get on, someone's either showing their face, dancing on a reel, they're talking, they're giving you a tutorial, they're doing something. So people are just swiping. So how do you be different, right? And this is where the personal brand comes in, because here is the reality. We all sell the same exact thing here. Every single one of us. And there's other market partners too. We all are trying to do the same exact thing. Now we all get to do it different. And that's the important part. There's millions of people in this world for you to reach and impact, but how can you connect to the person that you're looking to work with or that you're looking to help? Okay. So this is where personal branding comes in and storytelling. But I have a question first and foremost for you guys. Tell me in the comments what type of people you follow. What type of content are they putting up that keeps your attention? Like if you're going to go to Instagram, if you're going to go to TikTok, what's the first thing that you're looking at? Like what's on your For You page that keeps you there? That's what I want to know. Or what are you seeking out? I'll tell you what I like to see. Health and nutrition, moms. Okay, give me some more specific on moms. Okay, day in the life of moms. That's good. Newborn routines. Love that. So give me some more details like that. Holistic minded moms. Okay, I love that. I follow creators, people who inspire me, holistic living. So I would love to know those that are saying pelvic floor therapy for real, because that's the season you're in, right? Sabrina, you're saying holistic minded moms. What type of content are those holistic minded moms sharing? Are they speaking? Are they showing something? Are they like what type of stuff? That's what I'm looking for specific. So same thing, Christy, for homeschool. Are they telling you something or are they teaching? Like I want to get specifics into that. So I'll give you an example. The people that I am seeking out on TikTok, there's this girl. She's 23 years old. Y'all, I'm 30. This chick's got me wrapped around her finger. We have nothing in common. She's from the East Coast. I'm from the West Coast. But her personality, that's what we do have in common. We have a similar astrology too, I'll just say. But that being said, she does her makeup. I'm not a makeup girly. I am not. But the way that she does it, and she's listening to music and she's high vibe, I will watch anything she posts, to the point that I found her YouTube and I will watch hour-long vlogs of her life, thinking that I'm her best friend because she's fun. She honestly reminds me of me when I was 23. I think that's where it is. So that's very specific. She does get readies with me and she does kind of vloggy type of stuff, showing her day in the life. Sometimes some try-ons. That's the vibe. Okay. I don't watch people. Maybe I need to start watching people. Well, I mean, I think there's a double-edged sword to this. We don't want to be in full consumption mode, but I do think it's important to say, who am I watching when I do watch? Or if you're not watching a specific person, like somebody doesn't have you wrapped around their finger, that's fine. But when you go on to social media, what keeps you there? Okay. So Jennifer's saying definitely teachers. Chrissy's saying mom humor, clean living swaps, painting process videos. Those get me too. Or home decor type of stuff. If somebody's renovating a room, I'm in it. Homesteading type of families, homeschooling ideas, archery, hunting, and archery competition stuff that's complicated to relate to shampoo. This is good, Rebecca. I'm glad that you're saying this though, because this is what we're going to talk about. Because here's the pivot. I'm just going to be honest. In 2018, 2019, even 2020, middle of the pandemic, we could, and some of you have been around that long, we could get on our stories and we could be like, buy this shampoo. It's so good. Look at my transformation. You don't need to know me. You can just see my hair transformation and you gonna buy it. And people did. But guess what? Everyone, just like Mel said, everyone's got a little trust issues. Pandemic made us all a little cold to each other, right? We're more skeptical. We're looking into things, and we really want connection. That's the biggest piece here. How many of you during shutdown, your biggest piece was like, I miss my family. I miss my friends. I feel like I'm a little hermit in my house. The connection piece is what's driving people to make decisions. 1000%, whether they know it or not. Michelle from Charlotte, the TikTok bartender, telling stories of what she's seen as a bartender. Okay, so Caleb, were you a bartender at some point in your life, or did you work in that industry? Because here's what I want you guys to see. If you look at the comments, there's some similarities. Some of you moms are like, yeah, I like mom stuff, but like everyone has something different here, which is so cool to see. This is part of what resonates for your personal brand. So Rebecca saying all these things that don't really relate to shampoo. I'm like, good, good, because Rebecca, I need you to create those things. I know you guys hunt. I know you do your archery. I want to see it. I literally want to see a day in the life of what it looks like with your 2 kids and your husband going out to go hunting. I would be hooked because that's nothing that I do. I would be like, what is this? I want to know what happens. Yeah, Mel says same. Okay, so you're saying she catches your attention. Kayla, I would love to know what catches your attention. And I know I'm really asking for details here, but this is going to be helpful because you're going to be like, oh, that's why. Does she have her hair a certain way? Is it her makeup? Does she say something right off the bat? Right? These are things to be mindful of because we are in marketing. We are. So you got to know how to take this for yourself. Okay, so let me give you an example. And then we're going to go into a little bit more of expanding on this, and I'm going to need your guys' participation. But here's the thing about personal brand and why I'm hyping on this. You guys have probably seen Lexi. She's one of our top enrollers right now. She's the blonde. She's like all over Instagram. Long blonde hair. She is from California. We actually have the same assistant, and I was talking to our assistant, and her name's Jen. She works for Mel too. And Jen was like, Lexi has raving fans. Raving fans. Like, yeah, she has incredible hair. She really has branded herself kind of as, yeah, like hair boss, but also like, she's like Barbie status, right? If you watch her, you're like, she's got the skin, she's got the hair, but she's got the perfect little baby. She looks like she has the perfect little marriage. Like, that's how she's branded herself. And that's amazing. She has raving fans, just the same way that Amy Rickenbaugh does. Does anyone know who Jessie Lee is? She's in the Ketones company. Raving fans. You either like her or you don't, right? But these people are for her. And so when Jen said, no, I'm telling you, when these people sign up with Lexi, they are ecstatic to be getting a text message from her because they are her people. She's calling those people in, and that's why her enrollments are the way they are, is because she's resonating with that type of person. I'll be honest, I love watching her content. I don't know that I would buy from her. I would be inspired about Monet 1000%. I'd be like, wow, look at her hair, amazing. But I would probably seek somebody out that is like relating to me to actually purchase. Does that make sense? So why is she have such high enrollments is because she's calling in her person. Okay. So Kayla says she wears extensions, she's gorgeous, and she's hilarious. Plus she does some of her videos with her son, who's close to my youngest son. She shows drunk math and how she typed in her tips. I used to be a cashier, so I can relate to the horrible handwriting and mad math skills. Okay, so I want you to hold on to the that you used to be a cashier. Okay, because we're gonna build a story on this. Okay, so let me show you an example. Because when I saw this, I was like, hot damn, I can do that. And I want to do that. And this person, from one video, I would buy anything from her. Truly. And you guys, I think, will feel the same way. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. Yeah, I'm just going to show you.
I miss my husband. He's not gone. I see him practically every day, but I miss the time that I had with him before I had kids. I feel like a lot of moms probably feel this way, but we just don't talk about it enough because it might come off as like your marriage isn't great or might have issues going on, but that's not it for us. I really just miss him. I love being a mom more than anything in the world. I would not trade this for anything. I'm saying this as I'm looking at my toddler being the cutest thing ever. But I just miss that time that I had with my husband to where he got to see like the best parts of me and not the burnt out mom part of me, where he just mainly gets like the scraps left of me at the end of the day where I'm tired and exhausted. But if you're feeling like this or going through a season of like really missing your husband, I just want you to know it is just a season. You are not alone. And I am making an effort to be able to have more one-on-one time with my husband, whether that's just a coffee date or a Bible study date. It doesn't always have to be this like nice fancy dinner, just where we can reset and reconnect with each other and not just always see each other when we're both exhausted from the day. I am super excited to be more intentional about spending time with my husband. And if you just needed this reminder that it's just a season, here it is. Our kids are so young for just a blimp of a time. And it really is the most incredible thing, raising kids together. I miss my husband. He's not gone. I see.
Are you buying from her? Are you buying from her? Because she could put any link in her anything right now and I'm purchasing. And I'm not even a mom. Right? I'm like, yes. Oh gosh, I related to the missing my husband. My husband works a lot, right? I'm like, oh, she hit the husband card, she hit the lonely card, she hit the connection card, and she hit the mom card. I think every single one of us here would follow her. I did immediately. Right? So here's another one she posted. This is the other one that brought me to her account. So some of you maybe have seen it, but I just want to show you.
I used to think I couldn't be a content creator because I don't live in a pretty house. I'm not aesthetic. I mean, look at me. My husband and I are just normal people who make just about enough money to get by every month. Can't afford to do daily or weekly shopping hauls on here or afford to have the wardrobe of my dreams decorate the way that I would love to. For some reason, people still keep following along. Sometimes I get in my head and I watch other people who live in these absolutely beautiful homes, have all the cutest clothes, the latest trends of everything. Much as I wish we could, we can't afford it. If I ever get a brand deal, it is like the biggest blessing to my family and I. It helps cover extra bills and live a little bit less stressed about money that month. Anyway, the point of me really making this is let you know that if you live like this too, you're not alone and you're probably the majority. There are so many days and nights where I'm stressing and praying for answers of how we're going to pay for something. I know money is like a taboo topic. Times are so hard right now. I just wanted to share that as a lot of creators on here who seek and afford a lot of really awesome things. I'm not one of those creators. Lord knows if I ever will be. I just want to thank every single one of you for following along, joining this community. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I used to think I couldn't be.
Would you follow? You relate more with that one. Yeah. Okay. So here's the piece that I think is so powerful to take away from this. She's giving us a sneak peek into her life by giving, the videos. We're seeing different things. We can see her cabinets in her kitchen. We're seeing them behind the scenes. She's not bearing her soul. Right. And I think this is the part that I want to really just give you guys permission, because we have a team full of different levels of vulnerability. And I think that people are like, well, gosh, I don't know if I could say stuff like that. That's fine. But I bet you could show us something. Right. Does that give you a little bit of like, oh, this is actually simpler than I thought. Right. You can really just set your phone up and show whatever. And here's the thing. She has over 1 million views on that. That blew up her account because people want the relatable. How many of you feel that? You're like, I would film my house more, but it's like, we're doing some renovations, or it's like not pretty like I would want it to. So like, I don't know. I don't really have a spot in like my bathroom, like whatever it is for you. You relate to that. People want it because we're tired of the same old white countertop white. I mean, I'm not saying I have white. My whole house is freaking white besides 2 rooms. So like, I get it, but like people want the real. So whatever that real looks like, right? Real. So let's do a little exercise here. I want you guys to write in the comments an icebreaker thing that you would say to people. What if you're ever in a Chrissy, you actually inspired this for me in our conversation the other day. If you were to be in a group of women and they're like, hey, we're just going to introduce ourselves and go ahead and tell us a fun fact about you, an icebreaker. What would that be? What would your thing be? Tell me in the comments. Doesn't have to be real deep. It could be deep or it could not. But tell me in the comments what that would be. I'll tell you 2 of mine. I'll tell you 3 of mine, actually, to give you a thing. I've never broken a bone. Number 1. Number 2, I'm from a family of entrepreneurs, my parents and my grandparents. And number 3, I can put my socks on with just my feet. Bro, I love that. Number 3, I wanted to be a special education teacher in high school. We do need a video. Okay, but I'm going to give you some examples of how you can use these things. So tell me in the comments. Done. I'm obsessed. That's so fun. You're gonna bring a whole demographic in. People might like those feet, girl. Listen, if they trust you because your feet, they're gonna trust you for shampoo. So it's fine. It's polarizing content. Okay, tell me in the comments. I love to sing. I have 10 siblings. Esbady, I had no idea. What? Please sing to us. Yes, but listen, my husband's a family. He's one of 5 siblings, and that feels like a lot for me because I just have a brother. So when people talk about big families, I'm like, how did you function? Actually, I need to know. I need to know details about your upbringing. I need to know what it was like. I struggled with my weight after depression when my father passed. Karina, so relatable. Grief? Are you joking? Weight, especially for women? That's so real. I have 4 brothers and used to work in the construction field. Kayla, 4 brothers in construction field. Homegirl, what was that like? How polarizing for that to be your story, and now you work in the beauty industry. What? I bet my girl Rebecca on here, who loves her hunting, her archery, I bet she would have joined you over me because she probably relates more to the outdoorsy, like that type of stuff than me. We just know each other. That's why you should probably join me. But that being said, that's huge. I'm a paralegal turned entrepreneur, first in my family to graduate from college. That's huge. The college graduation thing. Have you guys been seeing the trend go around of all the people that are graduating and putting the cap and gown on their parents? I sob because they're the first generation and their parents didn't get that. So they're like, here, mom and dad, thank you. Oh, it'll just rip your heart out. We're also starting our own farm, just butchered chickens and some bottle calves. I need to see that. Okay. Are you guys getting what we're putting down? I suffered alone with postnatal depression, only one in my family to finish school. I love to sing. Baking makes my soul happy. Christy, relatable. I farm sit on the side too. Chrissy, this is good. I've never flown before. When you told me that the other day, I was like, I need details. I grew up in a silently broken home with a narcissistic father. I love how you give lightweight and heavy, right? You're like, which dose are we giving of vulnerability? But listen, that's a good thing because you can go, okay, where am I comfortable with sharing? Some people are totally fine with burying their soul. And if you are, more power to you. But I want you to feel empowered by the lightweight stuff, right? Because that is connection building. Okay. So Chrissy, here's what I want to say. We're gonna go into how can we use these pieces of things. I need to lose 25 pounds and be able to get my A1C down and be able to get pregnant. I want another baby so bad. It's baby. Relatable. These are things, literally, I'm telling you guys, these are things I know some of you because you're in my organization. Some of you I don't, but I don't know these things about you. I have no idea. And I bet your people don't either. And I'm not saying, again, that you have to share every single piece of this. You got to figure out your level of comfortability. But what if, I'm just going to use Esbady for an example here because I see her comment right here. What if you talked about the need to lose 25 pounds get your A1C down, why this is important for you, because you want another baby and why you want that. What if you put a reel out where you were talking about that or sharing about that, and you had 100 women come in and say, I'm literally in the same situation as you. Thank you so much for sharing. Wow. I've really felt alone about that. And I would love to have another baby too. It's just not in the cards or whatever. Like, do you see how impactful that one thing can be to call in the people that are in the same part of life as you? Right? So why is this important? This is important because all of these things that you guys have just talked about is the trust and connection building piece of this business. Okay. At the end of the day, you want to just build an audience, build a connection, build a community of people that you would want to do life with. Those people you want to do life with pretty much are the people that you end up doing business with. How do we call in those people? Well, we share these experiences. We share these stories. We share the things that would have commonality. So they're attracted to us. They then begin to trust us. Then it doesn't matter what we're selling, what we're sharing. There are hype girl, there are support, there are next customer, there are next business partner. Excuse me, 100%. Let's start a hashtag, the story behind the person. I love that. Let's do it. That's so good. Okay, so I want to give you an example now. I actually did this yesterday because I wanted to be able to show you me doing this and what that looks like, what that sounds like, and then we're going to craft what that can look like for you. So if you have questions about this and you're like, okay, how do I like make this a story or whatever, I want to actually help you tangibly do that. But I want to give you an example. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've been full-time Mom Nate since the end of 2018. I don't have kids. I just have dogs. And in my brain, I feel like my life is not very entertaining. I do a whole lot of chilling. And I feel like it's not relatable because there's a lot of people that don't have this luxury, right? But then I also know a lot of people want this. They want to be able to build their flexibility. They want to be able to be like, oh, let me just, go grocery shopping in the middle of the day. That would be so much better than I have to do it at night when I get home. And oh my gosh, I would love flexibility. So I've been trying to figure out, how do I relate to my person, right? So here we go. Let me make sure this is the one. Growing up. Okay, yep. So I recorded my day. Oh, you get a real behind the scenes here. Okay, can everyone see? Hopefully you're gonna be able to hear. Here we go. Nope, hold on. Growing up, I thought I wanted to be a special education teacher. My best friend had special needs and I was her aide in school until 4th grade. I've always known how to hold space for people, see people, and love people. I've always wanted to make an impact, and she was my first exposure to that. In high school, I became a teacher's aide and quickly realized the classroom was not the place I was going to thrive. Going to university wasn't it for me. I tried and ended up going to a community college near my hometown. I graduated with my associates in medical administration and thought, well, I'm good at this, so I'll just do this. I was a full-time nanny for 3 years through college and fell in love with the idea of spending my days with a little one. I always knew I wanted to be a mom one day, but didn't know what that would look like. Then came the big girl job. I felt like I needed to use my degree. So family medicine receptionist it was. Then an assistant to the head of the annual giving department at a nearby college. And shortly after, I found myself as a financial advisor's assistant. I loved that job. I loved my boss, but something was missing. Flexibility, impact, creativity. Money was tight for my husband and I. He decided to go to a trade school and I quickly realized I would have to pivot to make ends meet without going further into debt. I landed in the social media marketing and sales arena in 2018 and I've never looked back. It wasn't something I was qualified to do, but quickly found a passion behind it. I love people. I love making a difference. I love using my creativity and I love holding space for others. I love creating my schedule and having flexibility. Now being 30 years old, I look at my 20s as a time of truly trying it all. Everything connects because it brought me here, where I'm still figuring out, but I'm sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be. Follow along if you're in your 20s or maybe even your 30s and you're still figuring it out too. That's it. Now I did cut it down a little bit because I had to take like 30 seconds of it off, whatever, because I want to get it on Instagram and TikTok, and it was over the time limit. But that being said, I took one fact about me, prompted myself, like straight up like English class. I sat in that coffee shop yesterday and I wrote out the story on my notes so that when the video was done, I could just read it and voice over. Okay, so what was my prompt? Well, I literally came to me as I was laying in bed. I really think Jesus was like, you're going to talk about this today. It was literally that I wanted to be a special education teacher, but I quickly realized that was not the route for me. And then I was like, wait, why did I want to be a special education? Like it sent me down a thought train. Okay, one prompt. And that's why I started with it. Okay, so some of you, as soon as you heard that come out of my mouth, you're like, ooh, relatable. And some of you were like, not relatable, but I wonder why she's not doing that, right? Like I hooked you with that because it wasn't a, hey guys, here I am popping on, right? I still do that too. But like it was a piece of a story that you're like, I need to know the ending. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? So what your assignment is to make yourself a little video. Make yourself a video like this. You can record your day. Amazing. Maybe you're like, I don't got the time to actually record all those pieces of my day. You can record one thing you're doing, chop it up, and tell a story over it. So for instance, I follow a ton of accounts that are cooking, like people cooking their meal or baking. So I'm watching that, but they're telling a story over it. Does that make sense? So maybe you're like, okay, the only thing I can record is my morning routine and then like getting my kids' lunches ready. Like I can record for an hour, hit or miss before I get out the door in the morning, but then I'm at work, I'm like doing whatever. Amazing. I want to encourage you to record that. And then just at the end of the day is when you edit it down. You don't got to do it right there. That's what I did yesterday. I recorded all of yesterday. I got home when I was done and I put it in CapCut. That's the app that I use. And you can chop it up. Okay. And you can even voice over in CapCut if you want, or just take the video to Instagram and TikTok and do the voiceover there. But there's two things that we should note that are powerful about this. The storytelling, number one, which is what we're talking about. But number two is you heard my voice, right? And you didn't have to see my face, right? So if you're ever like, I'm like nervous to like get on and like show my face, write out what you're going to say. I literally was reading it from my notes app, which you probably could tell because it was a full-on story. But sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll do voiceovers about my hair and whatever. I don't do that, but you were captured because the story and because I was speaking to you. So that creates the trust. People are either like, oh yeah, I resonate with her. I haven't posted it yet. I'm posting it today. So they'll either follow because of the story or they'll follow because they now have a little bit of trust because they heard who I am from my mouth. Does that make sense? You guys catching what I'm putting down about personal branding? You got to be a person. you got to be relatable. Okay. That's the biggest piece here. So that being said, I want to help you guys pick what your first story could be, what you could craft, what you could talk about, and maybe what that initial hook is to start your story. Does anyone have any that is coming to mind right now that you're like, I want to talk about this, but I'm not sure maybe like how I would start that? I want you to either unmute and let's work through it, or you can type it in the comments. And let's get at least a few of these so that you guys have some different examples of what that could be. So whoever would like to go first. When I went to college, I thought I would go to work at a nonprofit and change the world. Yep, that's your hook. That is your hook, Jen. Absolutely. You could put that over anything, right? It's like your morning routine. It's like whatever, but you sharing that is a huge prompt. Do you feel like if you prompted, like truly you guys, we're getting when Mel said that it's different to capture people's attention now, I want you to know that this is not harder. It's actually just more intentional. I told Mel, if I could do one of these a week, I think my personal brand would blow up. One storytelling piece like that, 90-second long video a week, people will connect, it'll float around the internet, whatever. So that being said, you do have to get intentional about this. This isn't so much like on the whim. So I want you to prompt yourself, spend some time writing it out, so that then you can talk about it, right? My journey of healing from autoimmune disease. Okay, Sabrina, so I would love to ask you, can you give me like a pain point around what it felt like when you were in the midst of maybe your diagnosis with autoimmune, or maybe like something that you were dealing with right off the bat? I want to talk about my last visit with my doctor when he told me I need to lose weight in order to be pregnant. Espadie, that's huge. So could you start with like the quote that he said? Right. So it's something like, I went to the doctor's office, or maybe it's like, Espadie, you need to lose 25 pounds if you want to have a second baby. That's how you start. And then you say, I went to the doctor's office last week for my annual checkup, and something that's been a huge desire for me is to expand my family. And when my doctor told me this, I felt blah, 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 blah. And you can expand in whatever way that feels. But do you see how I started with something that you were going to be like, oh, relatable. So my doctors told me I had to lose weight too, or I wanted to expand my family too. Do you see what I'm saying there? I wasn't always a mom of two, but that's my life now. I used to work full time in the concrete world, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom of two beautiful boys, one who has a disability and requires weekly therapy. Okay, Kayla, so many relatable things there. Mom of two is number one. The fact that you used to work in concrete and the contrast of where your life is now. And then number three, having a little with a disability that has therapy. I'm like, you can take that any route you want. You could cover all three, or you could use that for 3 different pieces of content, right? You can make one about being a mom of two and what that's like, being in the concrete industry, and then talking about your kiddo needing weekly therapy, right? So, and it could literally look like, and I'm using words. So if this isn't actually the case, please, fluff this how you need to, but it could look something like, I used to spend my days with a bunch of men pouring concrete in 105-degree weather, and now I spend them changing dirty diapers. I'm hooked. I'm watching your story. I'm like, what do you mean you worked in concrete, right? Like, and you could expand, you could take that multiple ways. You could talk about now what it looks like being a mom and how much you love it. You could talk about this one time when I was working in concrete, I had this idea of, maybe one day I want to be a mom, but like, what is that going to look like right now? I have no idea. I can't even imagine. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can take this multiple ways. Christy said, I never thought being a mom would change so much for me. That's huge. So Christy, I would even dig more into that. Like, what changed? What's the first thing that changed? Something for me that I even struggle with currently is I am very selfish with my time. I say that like in a really good way, right? Like I haven't had kids yet because I'm like, no, this is my time. So for me, that'll probably be a story I'll say. Like, before I had kids, I was so selfish with my time. I didn't think that I had the capacity to blah, 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 blah. So what would that be for you, right? I'm starting with a quote from the doctor would be so powerful. I'm just reading comments. Can I share? I'll pop on video to explain. Yes, Kirsty, unmute. Let's go.
Okay, well, here you are, always chipping away at my little insecurities and things. No, so, okay, I'm a serial entrepreneur. That comes with a ton of baggage, right? Because you're like, okay, tried it, failed. That's kind of how you feel. So the first time I quit my full-time job was 2018. And it was like one business. It was never direct sales. It was ones that I started from the ground up, the hard way. And so people know that history and have seen me make those switches, but I never talk about like the financial struggle side of it because it's like a piece I keep secret, because and I see it now playing out even now. Like, am I where I want to be in this business yet? No, and but does it help? Yes, but I struggle with the fact that that's the biggest part of my story has to do with like my desire to be home and to be an entrepreneur, but the fact that it hasn't turned into what it needs to be, and getting online and being like, I choose this business, but that also means I choose struggle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I choose to financially struggle this way. And I come from a family of like, girl, if you're struggling, then you need to get out of the house. Go, go get the job, go do this, go get a third job, whatever. And so I'm like, I'm terrified to share the struggle. And people then come out and be like, well, it's because this doesn't work, clearly. This doesn't work. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I see what you mean. That's so good. So I'm like, wait, there's so many hooks in what you're saying. So like, what if
I'm
you
so glad you see that, because I'm like, I don't even know where to start, what to say, other than like, yes, I've tried a bunch of things. I failed at them. Look at me trying something else.
So like I'm thinking your hook is like, I choose the life of struggle and entrepreneurship because I value being home. You can expand on that. Huge. You could say, is it really failure? I don't know, but I'm willing to try multiple things. And that's why I continue getting up and I keep doing it. But if I let you in on a little secret, my family would probably tell you that they see me do this, repeat, try again. And I know they wish that I'd go and get a 9-to-5, but I don't get a 9-to-5 because blah, 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 blah.
Right. Well, and so much now too, it's like, now we have a baby. And so there is no getting a 9-to-5 because I don't have, the $40K to put into childcare. So, but then people still see that. It's mind drama. Like, I'm worried about the people that are like, oh, well, get up, go do something else. When really, you're so right that there's other women who are probably sitting there trying to do the exact same thing as me, who feel the judgment from their family and other people, and are like, somebody like, so Christy's like, hi. She's like, me, it's me. LOL. So yeah, I think we just worked through it.
Yeah. And I think what you just said to me, I would like actually love to see you write all those things down. And then from there, you're going to be able to kind of like piece things together of what like feels good for you to share. Because if you're like not comfortable with bearing the piece of like, my family would think this about me, you can still do it in like a really like tasteful way where you're calling in those people that are choosing that. Right. Like, I mean, I'm somebody in the same boat. I've always told Austin, like, if anything happened with money, I don't think that I could ever go work for somebody else. I'd have to figure it out. Like, I can't. So whether somebody's like, get a 9-to-5, get a 401k, whatever, I'm like, no, I won't. So you're going to speak to a specific person. And you're right. There are other moms that are like, I would give up my job that I'm working that's paying for daycare because I can't, none of this will contribute to home, to be home and make $100 a month. You know what I mean? Like, that's so relatable.
Yeah.
So relatable.
So true.
So I say expand on that. I think that's huge. And I think you could even expand on, figure out what part feels fluid right now, because the first few times you do this, it's going to be like, okay, it's going to feel a little clunky, but like the piece that you feel like, okay, I can share that like really authentically. And like that comes off the tip of my tongue first, whether it's I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've tried and quote unquote failed at this many things, but blah, 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 blah. Or is it the story of my parents really wish that I'd go get a desk job? You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, like you can take that multiple ways.
Cool.
Is that helpful?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. You're so welcome. Okay, Kayla, I'm seeing you're saying you have some ideas. Rebecca says, I thought I would go to college, get my bachelor's degree, and then pursue a career in agriculture and be a mom. But after finishing my degree, I decided to stay at home. That's huge. So you did finish your degree. And then, okay, so you're at home. So how many people relate? Did anyone get a degree here and now they're like, I'm like staying home or I want to be home? Yeah. Right, me. So you could literally say, you could start it with like, I graduated from college with a blah, 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 but my degree is actually in motherhood. I'm pursuing it. I'm actually pursuing a degree in motherhood. Every mom is going to be like, me, right? My parents were thrilled when I went back to 9 to 5. Meanwhile, it's eating my soul. That's so real, Jen. I'm like, that's a great hook. And talk about how you're working on getting out of it. Society values working for the man over being the entrepreneur. So twisted. Amen. Maybe expand on the reasons why you choose to go through the hard parts. Yes. Okay. So it looks like everyone's giving some feedback. 2 degrees, neither of them used. Yeah. See, that's so relatable. Okay. Does this give you guys some ideas now on like the story that you can tell? I want you to feel empowered of the piece of, you can film whatever you want to film. You can mash it up however you want to mash it up. I want to physically hear you speak over it, and tell some sort of story around it, because the story is you and you are your personal brand. When we can emphasize on this, you will be calling in your people. Right? Okay. Amazing. That being said, we got 5 more minutes. And I would love to use this to help you guys continue crafting this, or if you have questions, concerns, things you need coached on in business like in your business as a whole, or if you want to stick on this, that's totally fine. So if you have a question, please assume the floor. How do you send out the invites? I'm so scared to do it. Kayla, can you unmute? Are you able to chat so I can ask you some questions?
Yeah, if you hear a little one cooing, though, that's not my fault.
All good. Okay, tell me more. When you're saying invites, can you give me some more specific?
There's like 3 people that watch all of my stories every single time I post something. Like every single time. They're like the first 3 people to watch it.
Okay. What's their relationship to you?
Friends of friends, friends of family.
Okay. So you like know them physically too?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you wanting to send them?
That they could do this too. Like
Okay, so you
it's so easy.
You want to invite them to be a market partner?
I do.
Okay. And you haven't said anything yet?
No.
Okay. What feels really good for you? Like, what would you want to send? Like, I know you're saying you're scared to do it. I'm curious, like, if you mustered up the courage to do it, what would you want to say?
Oof. I don't know.
There's no right or wrong for this, by the way.
They're just always watching. So if they're curious, like, why don't you just jump on the bandwagon and do it?
Love, because that's relatable. Also, love your little one queuing. That's so cool. I say, yeah. Oh, love the idea of offering samples too. I was gonna say there's a few different routes that you can kind of take this. But I have one more question for you. You said that you're so scared to do it. What are you scared of?
The rejection.
Okay. So what is the rejection?
No. Well, I don't know. I just don't want to hear a no. I know it's okay to hear a no. I know we want to hear the no's, but I don't want to hear the no's.
Yeah. So I'm curious what would happen if they told you no.
Hi. Oh, John.
But yeah, I'm curious. If they told you no, what would happen?
I mean, nothing really. It would just be a no.
How would the no feel?
I mean, it would hurt a little, but I'd get over it.
Okay. Have you heard no before in like
Yes.
in your life,
Yeah.
maybe not this business, but like in general?
I've heard lots of no's.
Okay.
Remember, I come from 4 brothers.
Ah. Yes, you
I
do.
got the tough skin. I'm just sometimes scared to use it.
Hey, but here's the thing. It's because you're a human. You're meant to have feelings, right? Like we all interpret dialogue from people in different ways. So it's literally human to be like, I don't, right? But I think the thing, yes, exactly like Mel saying, they're not saying no to you, they're saying no to themselves. And I think the thing to remember too is that in this, we're talking about our personal brand here, right? So I'm like, you need to build your, you can show yourself all these things. Sometimes we wrap who we are into business as far as money. So when we offer business, we feel like we're offering ourselves. So when somebody says no, it feels like a personal crush, right? Because we're so close to money. Money is the thing. So I would love to offer you, Kayla, what if you were just, you had you and you had business, and what if you were just offering them the business? And if they said no, they're rejecting this, they're not rejecting you.
I like that.
Is that helpful? Because this is something I have to tell myself. I will literally think of myself like 2 pillars. I'm gonna offer this, and I'm gonna stay right here, and I'm gonna look at my offer. Obviously, I'm being relatable. My flavor is in there. But if they say no to this, they're not saying no to me.
Right. So there's so there's one person. I wish Jess was on here so she could like back me up a little bit on this. There's one person that continues to watch and all the things, and she's a VIP, and that's great. But I've had her in 3 ways with Jess a couple different times. I've sent the invite once and she said no, which is fine. But she's always like the first person to watch everything. That's the thing though. And she would crush it. And she's asked Jess like things about homeschooling. She's asked Jess about like things about her hair and all these things. And Jess is like, she's a potential. And I'm like, but she's already said no. So when do I send that invite again?
So what did she say? No, I don't want to do that.
She said she thought about it for a little bit, and then she's like, I don't know about it just because she's new to the area and she doesn't know anyone. I'm like, that doesn't have to stop you. And she's like, it's just a no for now. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, so I think it's appropriate to loop back and say something along the lines of like, dude, I've been thinking about you, and I see that you're obviously thinking about me too. You're all up in my stories. Have you considered this anymore? That's an invite. Have you considered upgrading? Because I know you're loving your products as a VIP. I just really think you could kill this. That's an invite. It doesn't have to be a, hey, you should do money business with me. We should do this thing together, right? So looping back and just saying like, hey, I've still been thinking about you. I know you had mentioned before that this was probably not up your alley. I'm just curious if you've considered it anymore. Like
she's also the only one that I've sent an invite to about like joining the business. So it's kind of like the fact that she's told me no, and I'm still like thinking she could do this just because I know she could. It makes me nervous to like invite others. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, I also want to offer you this, that there's a lot of other people in the world. You don't gotta invite her. You already did. Even if she's a lead, listen, there's people on this call right now. Nikki watched me for 2 years. Rebecca watched me for probably since the beginning. I don't know. It took her mom becoming a VIP before Rebecca would become a VIP before Rebecca became a market partner. So that being said, I think especially in the beginning of our business, we're like, I want to get all the people, which you should. I'm glad you're excited, but just know there's other people, and she may be a happy VIP right now. Love and nurture that. She could come around in a month, 6 months, 2 years. I don't know. We don't know her timeline, and be like, thank you for loving me as a VIP and for planting that seed here and there that I would still crush this. Now I'm ready. So you're right in the sense that it stings because that was your like first rejection, but you're still thinking about it. But I would also offer, are you still thinking about it because it was your first rejection and you want to fix that answer? You want to change her mind.
Part of me says yes.
Yeah. What if instead of having to change her mind, you could just go offer it to somebody else?
I could do that.
Then
We
you're
all
not even
could,
having to
right?
deal with, you're not having to deal with the resurface of her past no. You're going to somebody that's never even gave you an answer yet, and you're rolling the die. Right?
Right.
So how could you invite these people? I do a simple, hey girlfriend, I just want you to know that I appreciate you always being one of the first on my stories. Your support means the world. I'm curious, do you have any questions about what I'm doing? Because I feel like you would be one of the people that would be a dream to work with.
I love that.
Cool. This is recorded and I'll put it in our Facebook page so you can come back and grab that line if you want.
Thank you.
See how it's just simple? You're complimenting them, you're being a human, and you're inviting them to take a look without being like, have you ever thought about money as a business?
Right.
That's where we get cringe because we're like, we don't want to say that. Don't want to say that.
Right.
Right? Okay, is that helpful?
Very much so. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, I'm looking through comments real quick. Sometimes I worry about asking people because I know them in real life and I'm worried about what it will be like in person. Like I won't be weird or different, but will they? They will. Not everyone, but a lot of people, if you invite them online and then in person, they're like, is she gonna say something? And this is what I would say from experience, say something. Because it breaks the ice and they're like, okay, she will ask me in person too. All right, she's the same. She's the same person. Do you know how many times there's people around me, they're in my Cadillac, they're driving with me and I'm like, hey, why you want to get a Cadillac too? Let's do this. Like that's just how I converse because people know money's running through me. So whether I ask you online or I ask you in person, it's gonna be the same way. And honestly, I think asking people in person is easier, if I'm being honest, because they can see me. They can hear my tone. I do a lot of my invites via voice memo so they can hear me. Right? Does she understand the discount? If she was watching, maybe it'll feel better for you to say, would you say to her story, she's going to eventually come to you 100%. Can you add different videos together to make one video in CapCut? Yeah, there's a little plus sign on the back end of the video where you just keep adding video in and then you trim them all down. Yep. Someone said something. I thought somebody asked if they could come on. Did somebody want to say something? I thought I saw something. Karina.
Okay, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a perspective on the re-talking to someone again about it again. So in 2017, my mother-in-law had tried talking to me about money and I was not interested. We were going through a hurricane. And so told her no, didn't really, she never mentioned it to me again. And back last September, I had, because she had given me some samples and I had asked her if she had any Rejuva beads that I could use. And she's like, oh yeah, you can use that. But she left it at that. She didn't try to talk to me about it again, nothing. Well, shortly thereafter, I started following Melissa and seeing Melissa's story and really getting curious about the products. So instead of reaching out to my mother-in-law because she was not posting about it, wasn't talking about it, didn't try again, I reached out to Melissa.
Yes.
So people do change their minds and it's okay to get a no more than once.
Yes. So good. Thank you for sharing that perspective. And it's also this piece of you, Karina, right? Where you're probably like, if my mother-in-law would have asked me a few more times in 2017 and 2018, I would have joined then.
Yeah. And that's what I'm like. It's crazy because I even asked her about a product while we were there and she didn't even think to say anything about it, which now she called me a poop head because I signed up with someone else. But I'm like, this other person had more to offer me because I want to be trained. I want to do it right. I want to know more about the products, you know? And so you snooze, you lose sometimes. And so I would get back in her DMs and just do it, maybe offer the perspective that, you know, hey, do you know that the difference, you know, you get this bigger discount with Market Partner, you don't have to sell it. You know, if you really like the products, it's worth it just for that alone. And that way you can get back into it.
Totally. That's so good. Thank you for the perspective. I think it's so good to see the contrast of that, because people do change their mind. And the
Yeah.
squeaky wheel, Mel keeps saying, I'm in my squeaky wheel season. I'm like, let's go. The squeaky wheel is that people are like, okay, I'm coming back to that. I mean, there's people that I follow that I haven't purchased things from them, but if I'm going to, I'm going to go to them. Right. And
Yeah.
so I think that's huge. It also just confirms the storytelling, the continuously showing up and showing people what you're doing, right? Because you saw that in Mel and you're like, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. That's the only reason I'm here. I would never have asked anybody else about it.
Right.
It really is. Storytelling is so huge.
So huge. So huge. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I have to mention this of Kaylin, and then we'll go ahead and jump off here. Kaylin, I remember this day so well. Kaylin says, yep, people change their mind all the time. I changed my mind about the business an hour after I signed up as being a VIP. She really did. So her frontline is, or her direct is frontline to me. And I was in a 3-way with them. And Kaylin we were talking about the products, whatever. And then something happened where the business was mentioned. And Kaylin said, oh, well, maybe I do want to do that. She bought her VIP bundle and enrollment, an hour later bought a product pack. Swear to you. She was like, oh, I think it was FOMO. Honestly, Kaylin, was it FOMO? Because you were like, I can't not do that. So I just say that because when people try and give like money objections or like whatever, it's like homegirl became a VIP and a Market Partner an hour apart. So
I literally creeped an hour in, was like sitting in the dark and was like, you know, I have been wanting some extra money. So I was like, actually, I don't mind. I'm gonna sign up.
yeah, it's huge. It just goes to show, sitting in the dark creeping 100%. It just goes to show like people are watching, and if you can continue sharing and the personal branding piece and being the Monat girl, like they're gonna want it. They're gonna want it. Okay, guys. So your assignment is to film and to tell a story. Don't care what it is, what you want to share. I don't care what you're filming, whatever. Just make sure you're filming long enough to be speaking over it, or vice versa, that they match up. But this is gonna be epic. Yeah, I was just gonna say, send it in the group chat. If you're in Mel's group chat, send it in there. If you're in my group chat, send it in there so we can go and support one another and see what you're creating. Awesome. Thanks guys for being here. Let's go kill this BOGO flash sale. This is epic. And we'll see you guys, I guess Monday. We have a call with the Mel's regional, and then next Thursday. We'll see you guys then. Awesome. Bye y'all.